Welcome to The Freight Break with your host, Dan Lindsey, the podcast that cuts through the noise of the trucking industry. We're talking real conversations, real relationships, and real insight that keep the wheels turning.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this episode of The Freight Break, your go-to podcast for all things valuable in the industry and the flagship podcast of the Broker Carrier Summit and the BCS Freight Network. I am your host, Dan Lindsey. We got a great show for you today. We have some freight therapy. I'm going to sit on my own therapy couch, and our one and only producer, Josh Haynes, is going to join me because, let's face it, everyone, no one should go through therapy alone, especially in the freight industry. We're going to dub this the TIE Software episode because we have the CEO of TIE Software, Mitch, joining us, good friend of mine. We've spoken at a couple of events together in the past. So excited to have him on the show. We're going to be breaking down technology in the freight industry and how that is and is not going to impact business in the future. Before we do that, though, let's kick it over to TIE themselves to tell you about their product.
Meet TIE Software's workflow automation, built to help LTL and FTL freight brokers boost productivity. Use custom prompts to automate repetitive tasks like status updates, carrier changes, and shipment alerts right in the platform. Manage operations with automated scheduling, carrier management, and real-time updates. Workflow automation removes bottlenecks, freeing you up to grow your business. Best of all, it's easy to set up and use. No coding or tech skills required. Choose your workflows and TIE does the rest. Book a demo today and see how TIE makes efficiency happen.
Well, welcome to this week's episode of Freight Therapy. I am Dan Lindsey, your freight therapist, where we answer all of your freight questions as completely, concisely, and hopefully as entertainingly as possible, because let's be frank here, if you're in freight, you need therapy. So today's question is, hey, freight therapist, what is your craziest story? Side note, is hitting refresh on the load board 97 times in 10 minutes considered a workout? I'll tackle the second one first. 97 times in 10 minutes, no. 97 times in 1 minute? Absolutely. Yes, it's a workout. You'll have gamer thumbs by the end of that day of booking freight. All right, so this question, what is my craziest story in freight? Apparently, this is my chance to sit on my own couch here. So no one should go through therapy alone. So I'm going to bring in our producer, Josh Haynes.
Hey, Dan, how's it going?
Hey, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. You know, I don't go to therapy very often. Probably should because I'm a millennial, and I think that's the thing to do. So that's why I'm here with you, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I never knew that, therapy would be the thing to do, but apparently it is. And you know what? I'm here for it. We all need some kind of therapy. We all need a shoulder, Josh. We all need a shoulder to cry on. Someone to tell us it's going to be okay.
I might need to get you a stepladder to stand next to me to be able to lean on my shoulder because I'm pretty tall. But I'm here for moral support, you know?
Wow.
I'm just saying.
I'm usually in need of therapy for the bald jokes, but the short jokes work too. So I'll add that to the list.
I also got to keep those jokes to a minimum because, you pay my salary. So I got to, be somewhat nice.
That's right. That's right. Don't you forget that. My craziest story in freight is also my crappiest story in freight, quite literally. So we had a situation. I used to move tractors out of the center of Kansas, middle of nowhere, and we were basically the exclusive brokerage handling logistics out of that facility. And so if a load came in or went out of that facility, it was handled by me, and had a good working relationship with the people at the shipper. Went to see them a number of times, got to see their operation. They had a great little operation going on there. And I get a call. I had literally gotten on a plane from seeing them, landed at home here in Indianapolis, and the next morning got a phone call saying that they have a situation that needs my attention. And so I called them first thing in the morning when I got to the office, and they said, "Hey, we have a driver that pooped on our dock."
What do you... I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah. So the driver poops on the dock, and they said, we need you to handle this. And then my question was, well, what do you want me to do? Like, want me to fly out there and take care of it for you, or what? But no, there's like, just need to call the driver and handle it. So I called the driver, and it was the most awkward conversation I've had to have. One of the most awkward conversations. We'll talk about the driver in West Virginia maybe at a different time. But one of the most awkward conversations was me calling a driver literally at 7:30 in the morning and asking him if he took a dump on my shipper's dock. To which he denied it vehemently. Oh, no, I would never do that. Why would you even ask such a thing? Well, we would ask such a thing because there's literally a pile of human excrement on the dock. And you're the only person who was there. So that little bit of backstory on this driver. He was supposed to load the previous day, supposed to show up by 4 p.m. He was late. The shipper shut down. So my team told him to wait until the morning, which he seemed to be fine with, but apparently could not find anywhere to relieve himself or use the restroom. So he denied going to the bathroom on the customer's dock, to which the shipper sent me the CCTV video feed of their dock, which showed him literally dropping trow in the dock and, doing his business and then jumping back into the cab of his truck. It ended well. The dispatcher, I called the dispatcher and said, hey, this is an issue. This just happened. The dispatcher was silent for about 30 seconds on the other line, probably trying to process what I had told them.
Which is understandable,
Yeah, it's not something you like. It's a Wednesday morning, right? You're not really thinking, oh, I'm going to wake up today and my driver is going to be in trouble for pooping on someone's dock. So we literally, the dispatcher and I talked to the driver. We made him actually go and clean it up himself, because the shipper wasn't going to touch it. Like, we're not doing that. We don't get paid enough to do that.
Listen, can you really be mad at the driver though for dropping a load off at the dock?
I mean, it was a hot load. I mean, is that it's a whole new definition of hot load. We're going to get in so much trouble for that comment.
2 loads, instead of the one that he was intended to do. He was just trying to go the extra mile,
2's just riding heavy, man. What are you going to do?
Oh my God.
Let's bring value, right? This entertainment has been brought. Let's bring value to the conversation. So if you're ever in a situation where your driver decides to drop trow and relieve himself on your customer's dock, what should you do? What I would recommend doing is doing exactly what we did: is be forward or be transparent with the customer, be upfront and take the initiative, own the conversation. We're going to have a lot of awkward moments in freight. I guarantee you my story might sound a little crazy. I guarantee you it's not the craziest story that anyone has. I've heard some doozies in my time. This is my craziest freight story that I'm willing to share online or on the airwaves. But there are some out there that's like you leave the office some days just scratching your head, wondering how in the world we function.
And now I can understand why Dan always is a little nervous when I call him on Wednesday. You got PTSD. It's understandable, man. It's understandable.
Yeah. Don't call me on a Wednesday. You're gonna get stressed out, Dan. Or you'll get the Dan that's just bracing for news.
It is therapy. I'm here for support. So I think I should more be asking, like, how does that make you feel?
Angry. Josh, I felt really angry when that happened. This is good, Josh. We should have you on freight therapy more often. As I said earlier, nobody should walk through therapy alone.
I am here for that. As long as I don't got to touch any of the feces or any of that stuff, I'm here, man.
Only the metaphorical feces.
Okay. All right.
Is that good? All right. So Josh, you're going to be a staple here on freight therapy.
All right.
All right, that's it for this segment of Freight Therapy, everyone. Let's kick it back over to Breaking It Down. All right, welcome back, everyone, to this segment of Breaking It Down. Today, we're going to be breaking down technology, specifically transportation management systems. And to do so, we have the privilege of having our title sponsor of the podcast, TIE Software, and their CEO, Walter Mitch Mitchell, with us today. Mitch, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Dan. I really appreciate you having me on today, and looking forward to talking about TMS.
Likewise, it's been a long and winding road to get you on here. Actually, we got a chance to chat at TIA. We were on a panel together. That was a lot of fun.
Right, it really was. Yeah, we got to talk about education and training, and always a super important part.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right into it. So first off, give everybody the highlights version of how you got into freight and what brought you to TIE Software.
So I started in freight by accident. It was an unintentional project that somebody brought over to me to say, hey, let's look at LTL rating. And I was like, what is LTL and what is rating? And then that's been a little over 20 years now since I asked those two questions. And I'm still asking the question, like, what is LTL? Because it changes, right, a little bit. But I know pretty well now. So I've been in TMS, or transportation systems, technology side, for freight brokerage for the entirety of my career, a little over 20 years. What I've learned along the way is that freight changes and that the way that we operate changes, but I also learned that we need technical expertise. And I'm happy to be a part of that. And I hope that the contributions that TIE makes help elevate everybody and help bring better technology to our space so that we can do our jobs better and we can do our jobs with a little more efficiency. And that's what TIE's all about, is we're here to help freight brokers take advantage of the technology that's available and give them a platform to work off of, give you a platform that helps freight brokers do their job better. And that's been my mission for the last, again, 20 years. And TIE's been doing this for about 6 years now, is how long we've been at TIE. But our platform, we previously were a different part, and have been building this platform for 13 years now. And it's come a long way, and we've learned a lot and continue to try to adapt.
Let's chat about the need for a TMS, first of all, because I'm continually astonished when I talk to people in the industry, whether it's a carrier or a broker or an intermediary of some sort, of how many people and how many companies operate without a TMS. They're still operating off of Excel spreadsheets. So talk to us about what a TMS is, what value it provides, and why you as a business owner should have one.
Taking advantage of technology, I think, is fundamental to running a good quality business, and a business that can scale as well. There's so many operational efficiencies. There's so many tools that are available when you use technology the right way that you just can't compete if you don't have this technologies in place. Having a TMS is like putting together a foundation or a framework that you can build your business off of. And that's the goal of it, is to make sure that that foundation allows you to operate your business in an effective way. So if you're not using a TMS, the visibility that you have into your business, the ability to share information across your business, the ability to aggregate information about your business, these things are all exceptionally hindered. So if you're looking to grow your business without the proper technology, you're doing it where you're fighting an uphill battle. You're paddling upriver. So give yourself the tools to allow you to flow with the river, allow you to compete with the big brokers, allow you to do the things that make your business scalable, effective, efficient, faster, and more profitable.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things with the bigger brokerages, they have an advantage over the small to mid-sized market is that. So their TMS essentially it's a one-stop shop. So it's one thing to have a TMS or a system that you use to optimize and manage transportation. It's another thing to have a system that integrates with all these other tools, because it would be easy to turn on if a TMS literally solved all your problems from sourcing carriers or sourcing brokers or doing rate analysis, but they don't do that. So talk to us about what the need for integrations and why those are important.
Love it, Dan. You're hitting a sweet spot for me on something I love to talk about. And I call it the evolution of TMS, or TMS 2.0. And what I mean by that is, like, we used to be effectively able to operate a business off of Excel spreadsheets. And then after that, we needed basic freight management. We needed a TMS. It was essentially a collaborative Excel spreadsheet that maybe was on premise or in a server in your office or something along those lines. That was TMS 1.0, and that became table stakes for a good number of brokers. And currently today, a lot of brokers are using a tool like that. But the evolution to TMS and the evolution to TMS 2.0, that is evolving into a tool that has to focus on the person in the seat. It has to focus on the broker doing the job every day. Now, a broker doing the job every day is going to need additional tools. Imagine on the full truckload side, imagine trying to use your TMS without a tight integration to the load boards. It's a real challenge. Imagine trying to use your TMS with no visibility into fraud. It's a real challenge. So just these two components alone is where you need not just an integration or a connection to a tool like Highway or DAT or Truck Stop. You don't just need the connection. You need the connection deep into your TMS. So your TMS is a unified platform, a single place that everything is coming through. Think of it like a CRM, a customer relationship tool for a freight brokerage. Whereas these tools have plugins, they have APIs, they have connectivity, but it's not just on the outside. It's all the way into the TMS, deep into there, so that the operations person, the broker that's in the seat every day, able to use these tools in context to their activity. Because it doesn't do me any good to find out that this broker's or that I picked a carrier who doesn't exist and I have a fraud problem after the shipment's picked up.
Right. Well, and that speaks to something else too that's going on in the industry is, especially as brokerages grow, right? The company as a whole specializes in, let's call it segment A of freight, right? Say it's a refrigerated focused brokerage, right? Well, then within that, you have individual brokers that focus on individual commodities, individual regions with whether it's individual shipper requirements, processes, and procedures. The individualization element of TMS, I think that's what you're calling TMS 2.0, especially with the advances of, say, AI and all these automations that are going on. I think really gives companies an advantage when it comes to not only sourcing carriers, but managing freight over the road. What do you see we talk about AI all the time now, it seems like, but what do you see on the AI and automations front for TMS?
Dan, I think we're remiss to not bring up AI in a conversation around technology, right? And I think we also see a lot of anxiety maybe and a little bit of fear around how will AI be implemented for freight brokers. And one thing that I feel strongly about is that AI is not going to replace your job, but the people who can use it will. And I think the same thing applies to technology when we're talking about why do you need a TMS? If you're not using technology appropriately, the disadvantage you have is significant. If you're not using AI appropriately, the disadvantage you have is significant. So find a way to implement AI in small increments. Let it do a part of your work. Let it help your business operate a little more effectively. And there's some really great tools that are very mature and will turn an ROI for you very quickly that you can implement, and those should implement into your TMS. An example of it is email. Email is a great use case for AI. We can take emails and translate them and figure out what context they have against the shipment. So is a customer asking for a status update? Is it a check call update? Are they asking to create a shipment? Are they asking to get a quote? We can use AI to determine some of those things and create shipments in your TMS that are 80% accurate. And then you do that last little bit. And when you think about AI that way, where AI is doing the majority of the work and you're refining it, you have a tremendously valuable use case that saves you a ton of time and energy and also takes advantage of these really cool technologies.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the conversations that I have all the time with companies and individuals in the freight industry. Adoption of new technology is fairly complicated and slow in the freight world. How have you guys been able to navigate that? What kind of conversations are you having? I would imagine they're similar to the ones we're having right now. But what conversations are you having that are helping companies understand not only the need for more focused systems and more integrated systems, but also adopting and not being afraid of AI?
Yeah, so that's really where a technology partner becomes valuable to a freight broker, because you shouldn't be expected with all the years of freight experience that a lot of freight brokers have and that they're building and running a freight business, you shouldn't also be required to be up on all the latest technologies. You shouldn't be required to have a tremendous amount of expertise in implementing these technologies. What you need is a technology partner. You need to be able to rely on expertise, just like for taxes. There's no chance I'm filing my own taxes. The tax laws are crazy, and they've changed every single year.
We all feel that. We'd all be in jail real quick if we were all filing our own taxes.
Right? It's a scary thing. Not just personally, but imagine for our businesses too, if we tried to do all of that. HR, same way, right? Like, I'm not getting involved in HR without professional help. The same thing applies to technology. Take advantage of your technology providers and let us be a partner for you and let us be advisors for you. Let us experiment. And if we look back in time, a little bit, there was a time where having cloud-based infrastructure was considered revolutionary. We were still doing on-premise, and there's still some providers out there that provide on-premise where you install a server in your office and it's in-house. That's just not the way the world is anymore. Everything is in the cloud. And it was clear early on that cloud-based infrastructure was the future. Now, some people didn't see it, some still don't see it, but it's happened. And I can't imagine a world without the cloud and without having our phones connected to our TMS and all of the access that happens with that. AI is the same way. It is going to be impacted and part of our businesses moving forward, no matter what we want or think about it. How much is the question? And so that's where you got to lean on a technology partner. Is I can tell you that definitively. There's no doubt in my mind that AI is here to stay and we will never live a life again without it. But there's other technologies that pop up and disappear.
Yeah.
And let your technology partner help you with that.
Well, and so talk to us about when a company should start thinking seriously about these larger technological conversations. How small of a company is too small to be having these conversations internally? Because most of the freight industry consists of these small family-owned companies oftentimes. So how do you have a conversation as a small company if you're a 1 to 5 truck operation, or if you're a $10 million revenue and under broker? How do you have those conversations internally about where you should begin?
Finding the right place to begin can be a little challenging depending on the size of your business and kind of some of your free time. How much of your time are you allocating to strategic initiatives to improve the business? How many of those belong in the technology space? That's the first question you have to ask yourself when you're looking to implement it. But if you only have like 3 or 4 brokers in your office, you got to prioritize what's going to be the most impactful to my business. And, it's an easy one right now to say like fraud is a key piece. But then let's also think about, again, circling back to email. Email probably takes up a tremendous amount of your time every day. If you can reduce that time by half, what do you gain? Like, let's go ahead and use a little magic, simple math, right? If you're spending half your day in your email, that's 4 hours a day. If we're a real freight broker, it's 6, right? Because we're all working 12-hour days. But let's pretend like we work 8. So you take that 4 hours. If you can reduce that by half, you've saved 2 hours a day. What can you do if somebody granted you 2 hours a day? And so when you're thinking about how can I implement technology or what should I implement, that's, as a small business, that's how I would think about it first, is what's going to take away tasks that aren't so challenging or that I don't need to spend time on and give me time that I can spend doing more valuable work. The same thing would apply to documents. Like, how much time are you or your team spending looking at PODs and finding the right shipment to match them to in your TMS or adding them to invoices? This is something AI can do. If that can save you 2 hours a day or 8 hours a week, well, what can you do with that 8 hours? And think about it from taking your time and reallocating it somewhere else. And honestly, that works if you're a huge company or a small one. And I think that is a smart way to look at technology is what value does it bring to me?
Yeah. Well, and something else as well. Not only does it create more efficiencies with your time, it allows you the opportunity to actually enjoy your time
Yeah.
more. I think so. Talking about emails, right? I've been a freight broker for years, up until last year when the BCS took over my life. I live in my inbox, right? As all of us do. And so if you have a tool that can basically, like you mentioned, do 80% of the lift for you when it comes to email management, that's not a small thing when it comes to efficiency. That's 80% of my time back that I get with my customers, with my team, or with my family. Because let's be honest, freight brokers don't just get emails from 9 to 5. Neither do
Right.
drivers or dispatchers. We get emails and phone calls at 2 a.m, 3 a.m. So if we can automate 80% of those as well, it makes sense. I get the hesitation why people are thinking that AI is coming for their jobs. That leads into my last question: is what does the future hold for not only AI but technology and for freight tech in general?
So I believe that what we're going to be seeing over the next 3 to 5 years, clearly AI is going to have a major impact on all of the things that we're doing. But what I think we're going to see is a deeper integration between different types of tools that we've typically operated separately on. So I think what we're going to see is, as right now we're talking about email, and I'm going to guess that less than 5% of freight brokers are using some kind of automation tool to manage their inbox. I think that's going to skyrocket to 60, 70, 80%. And we're going to see an integration of texting and email and our TMS as a communication platform all merging together to unify that collaboration amongst our teams. I think we're going to see a connection between tools that have traditionally been separate, like tracking tools or, to understand the location of our vehicles, and that technology integrating into fraud prevention technologies. And I think we're going to see that integrating into tools that are helping find capacity. I think we're going to start seeing deeper integration and cross-tool collaboration that's going to really revolutionize the way that we operate in general. And so to prepare for that, get ready to have a TMS that can support you for that, and be ready and on the lookout for tools that are providing those kind of integrated services. If you're looking for those, you're going to have a head start on the competition.
Very cool. Well, after you guys are done in the freight tech world, revolutionizing technology, maybe you could help the lonely event managers and the event directors whose inboxes are already flooded and fraught. And
Absolutely, I got some ideas for you already, so let's get that going.
Perfect. Let's absolutely do that. All right, Mitch, thank you very much, my friend. It's always great to talk with you. Look forward to seeing you very soon in the next couple of months, and you take care.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate being here.
All right, that wraps up our show for today, everyone. Thank you very much again for joining us. And again, if you have not signed up yet for the Broker Carrier Summit, early bird pricing is still in effect through August 27th. Visit us at www.brokercarriersummit.com/events to sign up today. So until next time, everyone, take care.